Okay, what if there is a trinomial? Okay, so what if there is a three-term grouping multiplied by a two-term grouping, or a two-term grouping multiplied by a three-term grouping? Okay, well actually it kind of reminds me of is speed dating, right? So in speed dating, you know, there's guys on one side of the table and there's girls on the other side of the table, and you know, you date everybody just to kind of see if you're interested in them, and then, you know, by the end, hopefully there's somebody that you're interested in. Okay, well this kind of reminds me, like this double distributive property or triple distributive property, it really kind of reminds me of speed dating. Okay, and so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to call myself J. I'll call this person Brad Pitt. I'm going to call that B. We'll go ahead. I have Jennifer Lopez, so I'm going to call this L. I have Jennifer Garner, so I'm going to call that G. And Jennifer Aniston, we'll call that A. Okay? And so really, I have to go and date Jennifer Lopez first, then Jennifer Garner, and then Jennifer Aniston, right? Which is kind of cool. They're, you know, all, you know, good-looking girls, so very exciting, I suppose. And so really what we get is really this picture on the bottom, right? I get these three products, okay? This is kind of what we have here, right? And then after that, you know, it's going to be Brad Pitt's turn to see if the girls like Brad Pitt, okay? And so again, he's going to go date Jennifer Lopez, and then date Jennifer Garner, and then date Jennifer Aniston, right? And so we'll get all these products here. And so if I scroll down here a little bit, you can see on the bottom, you get, again, Brad times Jennifer Lopez plus Brad times Jennifer Garner plus Brad times Jennifer Aniston, okay? And so, you know, we could call these specific products. So we could call this BL, right? We could call this BG, and we could call this BA, right? And then beforehand, when I dated the three, we could call that, we could have called this JL, JG, and JA, okay? And then we can, you know, see if we have any like terms from all that stuff and combine those. In this case, we don't have any like terms, okay? None of them have the same variable, so we can't combine any of them. Okay, but I hope you guys get the point, okay? This is just kind of like speed dating, right? It's not over until I've dated each person and then Brad Pitt has dated each person, okay? And then obviously, you know, all the girls will hopefully pick me because of my great sense of humor. Okay, so let's check out a couple problems that involve this, okay? So finding the product, okay? So I have a binomial multiplied by a trinomial, okay? So this is where, you know, we're basically using the speed dating method. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to write both these polynomials in standard form. So I'm going to write this as x minus 2 multiplied by, I have a negative x squared here, so I'm going to write the x squared term first. Then I have this positive 3x, I'll write plus 3x. And then I have this positive 5, so I'll go ahead and write that positive 5 at the end there, okay? And so now again, I'm going to use the speed dating method, okay, where I'm going to go ahead and multiply this x. I'm going to multiply this by all three of the separate terms here first. The negative x squared, then that positive 3x, then that positive 5, okay? So I guess I'll go like this, so I'm going to go down below here. So this is going to be, it's a positive one and a negative one for our coefficients. So we've got to be careful here. This is negative x to the third power, right? Because it's an exponent of 1 and an exponent of 2. So it's negative x to the third, okay? Now I'll take the x multiplied by that positive 3x. We'll get a positive 3x squared, okay? Then I'll take the positive x multiplied by the positive 5 to give us a positive 5x. Okay, now we're going to go and let the negative 2 have its turn to date everybody, okay? So at this point, we're going to now take the negative 2 and multiply it by that negative x squared. We know that a negative times a negative is a positive, so I'll go ahead and write the plus, okay? In fact, I'm going to maybe line up the terms here, okay? I know that this is going to be a positive 2x squared, so I'm actually just going to line this up here, I think. So I'm going to add vertically. Okay, I think that might make things a little bit easier. Okay, now I'll take a negative 2 and I'll multiply it by that positive 3x, and that will give us a negative 6x. Okay, And then finally, negative 2 multiplied by a positive 5 will give us a negative 10. Notice that's our only constant term. So if I add these things up here, actually I'm going to maybe underline this with a black pen. Okay, if I underline this and add up all my like terms, I'll have my final answer. Okay, so this will be now negative x cubed. I know that 3x squared plus 2x squared, a positive 5x squared. Okay, I know that 5x and a negative 6x will be a negative 1x. And then finally I have my constant of negative 10. And this is going to be my simplified polynomial expression in standard form. So I just found the product. Okay, in the next couple videos, we're going to go over just a few more examples here and get lots of practice at using the speed dating method.